Hey crafters, today we're making these 3 beautiful Christmas cards with our Cricut, and each one comes with a tool or technique to help you add some bling to your holiday cards. So let's get started. Now for this first card, you will need your Cricut machine, a cutting mat, foil transfer sheets, the foil transfer housing tips. This is a blue housing, and the tips come in 3 sizes. You can choose from depending on how wide you want your line to be. There is a fine, medium, or bold tip. You will need the free SVG from my SVG library, or you can use a design from Cricut Access. We are using blank cards, additional colored cardstock that we'll apply our foil to, and some art glitter glue. Before we jump into design space, we need to measure the front of our blank Christmas card. You can see for these cards, they're measuring 5 by 6.5. So we'll keep that in mind as we design our card. Once we're in design space, we're going to start out by making a square. We'll unlock the size here, and we'll set our square to 4.5 inches by 6 inches. This gives us a border of 1/4 inch where the white card blank will show through and frame the red that we're using on the front. So I will go ahead and change the color of this to red. I like to be able to see a good visual of what my finished product's going to look like. Now I'll click on Upload, because I'm using this SVG that is available in my free SVG library for my subscribers, and I already have it uploaded into Design Space. So we will add it to our canvas. And if you are interested in this SVG file, you can go ahead and click the link in the description box below where you would be able to grab the file. Or if you are a Cricut Access member, you could always go ahead and go over here to Images and search for a particular Christmas image that you would like to use. I'm going to click on the design here, and I'm going to go up to Operation. Because we are going to be foiling this, we need to change it from a basic cut to a foil. And you can see you have the 3 options: fine, medium, and bold. So let's take a look at each of those and see which one we think would be best. And I am using silver foil, so I'm just going to change it to silver again, just so that I have a good visual. And let's go ahead and get this to a size that I like. All right, here we are with the fine foil. Let's go ahead and change it to medium. That makes it really nice. Let's see what bold would look like. I think we're going to go ahead and stick with medium. Now I need Cricut to know that this design is going to get foiled onto that piece of cardstock. So we'll highlight both pieces and click Attach. Now we can click Make It. Following the instructions on our screen, we're going to select cardstock. Mine is a lightweight, and we will insert the blue foil transfer tip into clamp B. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my red cardstock on my light grip mat. And taking a look at our mat on the screen again, we can see where the foil transfer will be applied. So we're going to compare that to our actual mat and lay the foil transfer sheet where it needs to be and tape that in place. Now, as you're taping down your foil, you don't want to tape anywhere where the foil design is actually going to hit the cardstock, or it's not going to foil properly for you. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure we tape it away from those areas, which means I'm going to have to tape right up to the edge up here at the top. Now we will load our machine. And hit go. Okay, we're just gonna see how this looks once we're done, but we're gonna finish as is. Once your machine has applied the foil, do not remove the mat, but go ahead and switch out the foil tip for your cutting blade. Hit go and let it cut out our square of cardstock. We are just going to go ahead and see what we ended up with here, if it's salvageable. Okay, so it didn't turn out horrible. We have a couple areas right here where there was a hole right there and where it kind of messed up right there a little bit. I changed the cardstock to a thicker cardstock in the settings, and I also chose the fine point tool for the foiling tool. And as you can see, this time the results came out perfect. That's exactly what you should be looking for when you use the foiling tool. And just take a bit of our glitter glue and apply it to the card. And I'll add some bling with a silver bow. And card 1 is all done. Now for card number 2, we are going to be using once again a blank card, our art glitter glue. I'm going to use a couple scraps of paper that have like a holiday print on them, and I'm using this from this book that I got at Hobby Lobby last year, and also one of Cricut's pens. This one is a medium tip 1.0 in the gold, and then of course you'll use your Cricut. Now before we get into Cricut Design Space, we're going to go ahead and cut some strips of our patterned Christmas paper and apply them to the front of the card. They don't need to be too wide at all. You'll see in a second here, I'm just using them as a border. Okay, then I'm going to take my art glitter glue. I really love this glue for paper projects. It really does the trick for me. And I'm going to apply this strip right up to the edge of the card. Just like that. And do the same with our second piece, leaving just a little bit of that first piece showing. All right, and now we need to go ahead and measure how big we want the white top piece to be. So I'm going to have it come out. Let's go from the middle here. I'm going to have it come out where I want to see a good 1/4 of an inch of this kind of like cream and blue plaid. So I'm going to say we have to go to about 4 3/8 by 6.5. Okay, once we're in Design Space, we're going to start out again making a square. And we'll unlock it and I need it to be 4 3/4 by 6.5. And I'm going to go ahead and change it to white. Now I'm going to go over to images. Now I'm going to look for a Q image in Cricut Access for the top of my card. And like I said before, if you are not subscribed as a Cricut Access member, you can go ahead and use an SVG that you like that you might find. But I personally recommend that even if it's just through like your holiday making season, that you subscribe and become an Access member, just because it does have a ton of images in there that you can go ahead and use as part of that subscription. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead up here and type Christmas. But over here in operation type, I'm going to change it to draw only. Let's go down and find, actually I like that for the front. And where is that bell? And here's the bell I want to use. We'll add it to our canvas. Now we'll go ahead and adjust our size and placement of the design. Looks good like that. Highlight both of them. And I'm going to center horizontally just to make sure. I'm going to pull the bell down just a tad. And again, we need to attach both of those images to the front of the card so that Cricut knows that that's where we want the pen to draw. We'll click Make It and Continue. And I'm going to pick medium cardstock because that's what I'm using. And you can see it wants you to load the pen in clamp A and the blade in clamp B. Now it doesn't really matter that it says black pen because, as we know, the colors on the screen don't matter. You can do whatever you want. Once you turn your machine on, you can change up your colors. So we'll insert the pen. And I already have my blade in. We'll insert the paper and hit go. And now we just need to go ahead and glue our top onto our card. And there we go, another beautiful Christmas card. Now for our third and final card, I'll be using a design from Cricut Access, but like I said before, you can always go ahead and use an SVG that you like. We will need another blank card, a piece of patterned or decorative paper. I'm going to be using a scrap of this gold pearl paper that is actually carried by Cricut, some white cardstock, and I'm just using the scraps from the last card that we made, some Nuvo glitter drops in the color of gold, our art glitter glue again, and some foam adhesive dots. I'm using this gold paper as the bottom layer to this card, so I'm going to cut a piece about 1/4 inch smaller on all 4 sides than what the front of my card blank measures. This is going to leave me a nice border around the card, and then we'll glue that in place. So that's going to need to be 4.5 inches by 6 inches. You could use your Cricut to cut this. I'm just going to go ahead and use my paper slicer. And we'll use a little of the art glitter glue to hold it in place. Okay, once we are in design space, we're going to start out by making, yes, you guessed it, another square. This time I'm going to make it 4.5 by 6. Because that's the size of the gold paper that is on the front of the card. So I'm only using this to judge size. Okay, we're going to go over to images, and this time we're going to look for Christmas tree. I found one earlier that I liked. All right, this is the one I saw that I liked, so I'm going to click on it and add it to canvas. And this part's real simple. I'm going to turn it to white just so we can see, and put it on our card here just to judge size. We do not need to center it or anything like that because we are going to be taking care of all of that by hand once we get this cut. So all we have to do is click Make It, and we're going to cut it out of white cardstock. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and remove my tree. All right, now I'm going to take the Christmas tree and take the Nuvo glitter drops, and I'm going to add them to some places on the tree. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and go around the star at the top. Just kind of squeeze and lightly as I go around. Now I'm going to go around and just add a couple dots to it around just to resemble ornaments. Now we're going to go ahead and let this dry. The bottle does say to allow 24 hours to dry, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side and we'll get back at it tomorrow. Now this piece is completely dried, and you can see all the gold dots on there from the Nuvo Drops. And all we have to do is take a few of our adhesive foam dots and place them on the back. I'm going to make use of some of the big circle parts. And then flip it over and place it on the top of our card for a really beautiful 3D effect. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, be sure and give it a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe for more crafting fun. Take care, and I'll see you next time in the craft room.